right moment. So I take what's mine, shine the lights on me, shine the lights on me.
Living the dream. Hello, everybody, and Merry Christmas. Giving you a holiday edition of the OZone just before the Yuletide Carol. And I have a beef. I don't feel like I get much action in the song. I mean, we have a theme song, and we don't have to. It's all icons. All I hear is icons.
They know what time it is. You know what time it is.
Next thing I'm going to hear is about Oladipo.
Yeah, how he's lighting it up. And a stud, like I said.
Still not a superstar.
He is a super 30-something points a game is a superstar.
Crazy. No. There's more to just your numbers in a superstar.
No, it's not.
Yes,
that's what the numbers are. That's what the numbers
Ladies
are for.
and gentlemen, welcome to the conversation I have to have all the time.
Because I'm always right.
Okay, Trump. With my crazy brother Terry about always being right.
Nice going, Mike.
This is the OZone live from Koreatown on a cold but nice wintry mix in Los Angeles, folks. I'm here. My name is Omar Miller. I'm your host. I'm here with my brother, the always right icons known as Terry Miller.
Yep.
We all know that guy, folks.
We know him, and he's right most of the time. I would say 75 to 80% of the time he is dead on.
Oh, my goodness. Anyways, we got a lot to cover today before you get into your eggnog, or maybe you're already knee-deep in eggnog, or maybe you're in traffic.
What is eggnog?
I mean, don't get me to lying, but I know it's an alcohol-laced beverage. When done properly,
I don't like the consistency of the eggnog.
You know what? It could make you vomit, or it could make you feel good. It's up to you. It could go either way. But we want to cover a couple of things. We got some college football. I got a caller that wants to slide in some info about the upcoming bowl games. We got baseball and some moves in the hot stove. We got the NFL constantly in confusion. And I think we're going to start off with basketball and get this train moving, ladies and gentlemen, before we slide into some boxing. So, starting it off, I just want to say I think the Houston Rockets are phony.
Of course. D'Antoni's the coach.
But it could be one of those city things. I mean, 2017 was the year of Houston in the headlines, whether it was
not the year
Hurricane
of
Harvey or the Houston Astros, or now, I mean, the Houston Rockets are acting a fool. They're out there. I mean, they're putting up crazy numbers every game.
Always.
It literally looks like nobody's guarding guys out there.
Of course.
I don't understand.
And then you get in the playoffs, and what happens?
Slow motion.
Yeah, you go in a half-court set, and they're non-existent. I mean,
and James Harden quits.
And even if he doesn't, he has to. He has to give in.
And he submits, and then
he gives in again.
Because he has to make Houston livable. Yeah. So and then he quits, and next thing you know, you got pictures and videos of him at the strip club.
Yeah.
What can D'Antoni do to actually make this team, to make anybody believe, including the guys on the Houston Rockets, believe that they're going to beat the Warriors?
Quit. That's
D'Antoni.
He can quit.
Relinquish control to another coach?
Yes, because he doesn't. His philosophy is shooting as many threes as he can and not playing defense. That's not going to win.
I don't think they're going to beat the Spurs now that Kawhi Leonard's back. The Spurs did very, very.
Yeah, they held their own while he was out
without their superstar, and which is a big deal.
Right, but I mean, I never take the Rockets serious. I never take a D'Antoni team serious.
Yeah. I've taken the Rockets seriously.
Yeah, I've taken the Rockets serious in the past with Elijah Wan.
Yeah. Just not a D'Antoni squad.
Not a D'Antoni. No matter
not
where
the
he
Lakers.
is. Not the Knicks.
Not the Knicks.
Not anywhere he's been. He preaches
Phoenix.
offense. Yeah, he preaches offense, which is cool. It's good to watch, but it doesn't work. It was like watching the Buffalo Bills back in the day. Buffalo Bills with the running, or the Houston Oilers with the run and shoot. You know, it looks good, but it doesn't win overall. It doesn't win the big games because great coaches or good coaches figure out how to stop it or slow it down, and then you lose in the big games. Always.
So you're seeing the answer is letting him quit. Speaking of D'Antoni, the 2018 Hall of Fame first-time candidate ballot is out, and we have some interesting names. I want to know who you think. First-timers get straight in. You got Jason Kidd, first-time or no?
I would give it to him.
I mean, I don't even know what the hesitation was. Jason Kidd is in the Hall. Jason Kidd.
I think he rubs me the wrong way because he's a bad coach. You know?
That seems to really bother you. You want a guy to be good at everything.
Well,
since you're right all the time, I mean, I can understand.
Yeah, of course. But who can?
Who can live up to your standards?
Come on. But, you know, I mean, Jason Kidd, he was a great ball player, but coaching-wise, he's not
in the Hall. He's not going to the Hall as a coach.
Exactly, so I have to let him slide.
He's going to the Hall as a player, and as a player, Jason Kidd was unstoppable.
For distributing the rock.
He could distribute the pill. Yeah. Almost I would say one step below Magic, because that dude.
Too far.
I know. I said below.
You said one step below.
That's one step.
One step beyond.
Jeez Louise, save your eardrums, ladies and gentlemen. Buy some.
He's way below Magic Johnson. Never ever put him in the same conversation. Jason Kidd.
Not about the passing. That dude distributed the pill.
How many rings does he have?
He has a 0.
Okay, thank you very much.
But I will never say it was Jason Kidd's fault that he didn't get a ring.
You should.
Because at that time he wasn't willing to team up and play with the mega teams like everybody is now.
Well, you didn't have that option back then.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So what do you want from him? He's supposed to take that weak net squad and beat the Diesel?
He's the one to sign the contract.
Are you crazy?
Nobody made him sign the contract.
He thought they were going to get some help, and they ended up with Derek Coleman.
DC.
DC playing around with them shotguns and not the OG Crip. Then you got Steve Nash. Now, this is funny because to me, Steve Nash is a Hall of Famer, yes, but I have a bone to pick with Steve Nash.
Because of the way he played the Lakers out?
No, I don't care about the Lakers. Even though now I do like the Lakers. Actually, I can't front anymore.
I like the Lakers.
I like watching the Lakers. Exactly. I like watching the Lakers and the Sixers now more than any two teams in the league.
It's all about the youth movement.
I agree. And I think the Houston Astros have shown everyone that it's all about that youth movement. As well as the Warriors. I can't front. The Warriors were hella young when they just won the chip.
Well, and everybody throughout all of the layer of sports is showing you that you don't have to go out and buy players. You can develop them, you can draft them, and then you can cultivate them into winners. And that's
with proper coaching.
Yeah, with proper coaching. And that's what the Lakers are doing. They beat the Rockets.
Yeah.
The unbeatable Rockets. They beat
the Rockets. And beat them soundly.
Yes.
Beat them soundly. But Steve Nash, the problem that I have with Steve Nash actually isn't Steve Nash's fault. No, because D'Antoni just created a system that worked well for the personnel he had to a certain degree, not to the ultimate level. But for Amari Stoudemire and Steve Nash, that system was impeccable for them because they can run and gun, and Steve Nash's jumper was wet from deep.
He was one of the better shooting point guards ever. Because Jason Kidd wasn't really a great shooter.
No, but he could still score.
He was
because he could finish. And surprisingly, he could rebound, Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
But Steve Nash he was a great ball handler. He could shoot. Problem that I had was I always felt like he was a taste overrated, and
really
I was the one who turned you on to Steve Nash because he used to play at Santa Clara when I was going to San Jose State,
right?
And I used to get to see him play several times a year, and I was like, man, this Canadian cat, he looks like he's out of control, but trust me, it's.
I remember you brought him out on live.
I was blowing people out because Live knew EA Sports knew how nice he was, and so. No, the only problem I ever had with Steve Nash is they robbed Shaquille O'Neal of the MVP that year when Shaq went to Miami and took his team directly to the Eastern Conference Finals and should have went to the finals, to be honest. And they got rid of Eddie Jones and Damon Jones because they didn't understand how to play with the big man. And Steve Nash got the MVP that year. And I don't know. I just never felt like he was the best player in the league, even though that's how it was sold.
That's all it always is in all the sports. Look at Mike Trout. Mike Trout basically almost wins it year in and year out. He didn't get it this year, but, it's not about that guy. It's in a sense. Steve Nash won it, and Shaq was the better player, obviously, and was the real MVP, but they sort of put a tag on the guy, and that's who they're going to sign up to win the MVP.
You're saying that the league literally gets behind a guy and says, well, this is the face of the league.
Yeah, they sign off on
him. Yeah, well, it is what it is.
Because you can't tell me that if you ask anybody, would you have Shaq back then or Steve Nash? Come on, man.
You crazy? Shaq literally showed up in that 18-wheeler and had and literally
Diesel.
And he brought the Diesel. Remember, he showed up and he was cut. He was in crazy shape. And he wanted to teach a league a lesson. And he did that.
He did that.
And while Kobe and the celebration was not happening in Los Angeles at that time, you got Ray Allen. To me, easy call. Ray Allen is. I hate
3 or 4 rings.
Maybe even more. I think he's got some
one of my things
ring pops in the back.
Right, but one of my things is that I don't feel like you should have rings to be able to get into the hall.
I agree with that.
A lot of these guys are good ball players, and if you're a good ball player, you should be in there.
Yeah. If you're a great ball player, you should be in there. Not a good ball player.
Yeah, great.
But Ray Allen
was a great ball player.
He meets the qualifications. He has the rings.
He's got the criteria.
He meets the criteria in series.
Okay.
And he's clutch. I mean, you can't beat clutch. And to me, sometimes guys that are clutch should get in even if they don't meet the other criteria because clutch is what you remember.
Yeah, like Robert Horry.
Like Jack Morris, who we'll cover because he finally got in, and I'm so happy about that. Morris.
Look at a guy like Robert Horry. The Lakers actually wouldn't be what they were. Kobe and Shaq.
Nor the Rockets. The guy's had 7 rings, I think.
Yeah, but look at Robert Horry.
And the Spurs,
by the way. Is Robert Horry in the Hall?
I don't know if he's with Brother Hall.
I don't even think that they
should be.
I know, but see, that's the thing. His numbers probably don't support him being in the Hall.
Yeah, but
he's a guy that should be in the Hall.
He's Big Shot Rob. But if you talk to anybody who watched basketball from 95 to 2010, you want Robert Horry on your team.
Wet ball.
All the time in the playoffs.
He's got antifreeze in his veins.
Ice cold. Ice cold. Yeah, and somehow or another, he's always wide open. Why won't anybody guard Robert Horry?
Too busy. You got double team check, double triple team, man.
Not when he's on San Antonio.
Oh, you got D-Rob.
No, you didn't have D-Rob at that point.
You had Tim Duncan
and a young Tony Parker, Tony Parker, and a Ginobili.
And you got to leave him open. And then you talk about him playing with Elijah Wan and them. Come on.
I can't leave him open. Now, after 6 rings, you have to realize I can't leave him open. I got to let somebody else beat me. But Ray Allen's clutch as they get. Actually, a friend of the OZone. I like Ray. He's got a fantastic restaurant down in Miami called Grown, I do believe it is. Grown Organics. It's organic fast food. You should check it out next time you're down there. It's pretty tasty. I think it's called Grown.
I'm not really into organic. What is it? Organic fast food, or is it that veggie stuff? Vegan?
Yes, it's called vegan, but that's not what it is. It's organic, meaning it's not tampered with by processing.
That's what they say.
I don't know what's wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what's wrong with my brother. He woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
It's conspiracy.
And by the way, he's still mad that Cheeto is his president.
Every day. Every day.
I think we're going to get a caller on here and see if Randy can call in. Going down the list. Now, this is where it gets dicey. Grant Hill. Does Grant Hill deserve the Hall?
No.
That's what I mean. I feel like he got hurt.
Play too much with the Hall like that.
But that's the Hall when it comes to basketball.
Yeah, because that's like even the saying that, it's almost the equivalent of Don Mattingly making it in,
Ooh, and we all know we want Donnie
and
baseball
I want
in the
Donnie
Hall.
in there, but he got hurt, the injury thing.
But we know his skill set.
But we know his skill set extraordinary. Your skills are extraordinary.
So you're saying no on Grant Hill. We got Chauncey Billups.
No.
I don't get Chauncey in either.
I know he's got 2 rings, I do believe, but I wouldn't put him in. His numbers don't support that.
And also, after the Pistons, the way that he played with the Clippers, that display of
the nonchalant of it all,
the
that I don't really don't
element.
Yeah, I don't care.
Of being, I didn't really feel it. And then you got Rip Hamilton, who actually
I like Rip.
I was about to say I think Rip, because Rip was clutch.
I would
His
take
numbers
Rip over
do
Chauncey,
support it.
definitely.
And he has ring, maybe 2.
They play together.
I know, but I'm saying I don't know if he has 2. If they got 2 or they just got 1.
I think they have 2. They beat Shaq and Kobe, and they beat.
I think they just got 1.
I think they got 2. That was Big Ben Wallace too.
No, because you know who gave it to them?
Who
led the league? LeBron James gave it to him.
King James.
Because they were going to go play the Spurs, and LeBron James gave it to him, which was a surprise because they had just beat the crap out of Chicago.
Never be surprised.
At that time, it was a surprise, and once again, I mean, really, if you look at it, Greg Popovich is the Lord Zod, the General Zod to LeBron James' Superman. He shut LeBron James down more than anybody ever in big situations. He understands. He understands.
I don't think he can understand it now. He wouldn't be.
I do, because it's all on the. It's never at this point. LeBron's so far ahead of everybody. It's not about him. He can still only do so much. It's still a team game. It's not like a boxing match. So if you put the onus on these other guys got to do their piece, and you don't know.
I don't believe
time in and time out. We don't know. They had the team. You can't tell me they shouldn't have beat the Warriors.
Yeah, but back in the day, though, they messed with LeBron mentally. Now I don't think that it's possible.
No, but that's because back in the day, he was the one that you wanted to make sure didn't beat you. That's no longer the case. You recognize
Well, I think that Popovich, what he said was that, you know what, we're going to put him in a situation and let him fail so that then he would take himself out of the equation.
I didn't think that's the case. I think that they took that status of saying, hey, you know what?
Did he lead the league?
That guy is not going to be the guy that beats us. We're going to make blank beat me. And Drew Gooden was not up to the task. You know what I mean?
Bring up Drew Gooden.
And even the rest of the cast wasn't up to the task. Truthfully, he should have won. He should have beat LeBron 4 times or 3 times, but he only beat him twice. Because they lost to the Spurs, lost to the Heat in that year with the Ray Allen shot. So it all comes full circle. Now, staying in the NBA, LeVar Ball has announced that he's going to make a paid league for kids who don't want to be exploited, in his words, by the NCAA and play for free or play for a scholarship if their intent is to play professionally. And this league is supposed to groom them. Well, they'll be paid a minimal amount of money, but some sort of a livable wage to play basketball and develop their skills to then be able to play overseas and or in the NBA.
Basically, he's starting a farm system. And I don't think that – I think this is a good idea in a sense, but I don't think that he's going to get the support or – the NBA is a monster. It's a big machine. And I think
it's a big corporation with a lot of corporate sponsors.
Yes, and I think they'll eventually smash him.
I think it's just like his Big Baller brand. It's a great idea. They're both great ideas.
But he's going to need a lot of support.
He's going to need a lot of support.
And who's willing to stick the neck out to support
I was just about to say, and the smear machine is already at work. They're already at work.
For me, a guy like him, what he should do is to try to hook up with the Drew League. And maybe they could work together. You know what I'm saying? Because the Drew League has a reputation already. It's already a standard there. But if you go out and try to start your own, then the NBA is probably going to smash it. I don't really feel like they could smash the Drew League like that because the players like to play in the Drew League. But
there's also no money involved.
Yeah.
But I would like to think
there's no money involved in college either.
I would like yeah, right. You must be joking. You know there's money involved in college. So
not for the players though.
I mean, there is, but it's just on the under, not openly.
Yeah.
It's not transparent. Now, what I'm saying is that I think that, personally, my take, I think the idea is great. I think he should have shelved it until he got at least one of his other kids in the league and he made his money. I think you need a lot of financial backing as well as goodwill for this to work. And I think that if down the road Lonzo Ball pans out to be good and maybe one of his other kids gets in and is good, then he has the financial backing in-house, and then he also potentially could have the goodwill to say, hey, look at what I did with my 3 kids, my 2 boys. I know how to get kids ready to play for the league. Trust me to funnel. Now, it's all so loud, with him that I don't know if that then in turn will translate.
I don't think it's
for the support.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to translate just because the NBA is not going to let them. They have the G League and the D League. And
right.
They're not going to let somebody just come in and start a league. That's like me. I love baseball, but I couldn't go start a minor league team or system and then think that MLB is going to let me just go ahead and do it. You have to be – it's a good old boys network. Everybody knows that. So they're going to have to let you – are they going to let him in to play?
I don't think anybody wants to let LeVar in to play because he gave you 2 and 2.
Why you got to bring that up? Why not?
But, in the news, your boy is trying to do the same thing, switching gears in the NFL. Your boy Vince McMahon is trying to go XFL too.
Yeah, so did Donald Trump. And that's one of the reasons why he's anti-NFL. People don't even seem to recognize that, but Donald Trump has a beef with the NFL because he couldn't get in. And so that's why he went over there to Canada and started his own league. What did he have? Not the CFL, but
I think it was the XFL, wasn't it? Or was it not the XFL?
It wasn't the XFL, but he had his own football league.
It was the greatest league ever.
Except that it didn't work.
It was a small technicality.
Yeah, and so he has a beef, and everybody knows that he holds grudges. So that's one of his beefs with the NFL as well. But if they don't want to let you in, they're not going to let you in. You have to buy your way into a system like that. They're not going to let somebody from the outside.
Same goes for what Puffy's trying to do, announcing that he wants to buy the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah,
I'd be amazed if they end up letting Puffy buy the team, whether or not he has the money.
Right. Because
that's the point of these systems.
Yes, and you have to be approved by the owners and all that kind of stuff. It's a good old boys network. They have to let you in to play. If they don't feel your work, they're not going to let you in.
Right.
Are you going to go along? Are you going to cause confusion? Are you going to do what we say? If you're not going to do what we say, we're not going to let you in.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
At least that's how it has been, and that's how it took so long for ownership.
Yeah, so what would even for change?
For minority ownership in the NBA, you look at it, you had to be Michael Jordan to finally get a team.
Right. And not only that, though, it's like the NBA is different than most sports because it's more of a revenue share situation than it is with the other leagues. Baseball, they don't really, the players aren't a part of that revenue share system, and football definitely is not. Football needs to work on their players union and that CBA.
They got to work on that CBA in football. It's
just a cut above boxing, which doesn't have one at all.
One step above.
Right. That's terrible. And these guys get busted up like it's no tomorrow.
They get busted up. Now, staying along that line, by any chance, did you see this beautiful show special that the NBA did with Magic?
I saw the little highlight of him and Isaiah, which was cool.
Yeah. I want to play that clip.
A little reparation going on there, huh?
Little reparation shot, which we all need from time to time, my brother.
Uh-huh.
We need to repair, you see.
The
young man found themselves at odds. And here we go. This is Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas.
I would say to you, this has been a tremendous day, right? My wife, my mother, my father have been saying, y'all need to get back together.
Yeah.
So when everybody called, I said, no question, we're going to do this. And just to sit across from you and have relive those moments of fun, excellence, working hard, dreaming big, because we were dreaming of moments before we were even, who sit up at 19, 20, 21 dreaming of stuff we wanted to do, and now here we are doing it, you know. But you are my brother. Let me apologize to you if I hurt you, that we haven't been together. And God is good to bring us back together. All right? I know, man. It hurt me too. Come here, man. Like we had to go through, but we through it, brother. Okay?
I'll always be here.
Oh, come on, man. I already know. I know. But I'm still mad that you beat me.
And that's the best. They're laughing about it. That honestly, at the most underrated player in the history of the NBA is Isaiah Thomas. Because you want to talk about clutch.
And he's got just as much drive as Magic Johnson,
Michael Jordan, anybody else
in the league.
Anybody else in the league.
Yeah. He actually is one of the big people who made Michael Jordan who he was.
He sure did. Michael Jordan should thank him to a certain degree because he toughened Mike up. He was like the older brother to Michael Jordan, to be honest.
And Michael was bitter with him, though, about that, which wasn't cool because, this whole
thing.
And
it spread over to Magic, you come to find out. I didn't know
cancer.
that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Magic was complicit in keeping him off the Dream Team as well as Mike.
The whole crew.
I didn't know that.
Really nasty. They were upset with the way that the Pistons conducted themselves.
And they robbed Isaiah Thomas.
They did. And they can't get that back for him. That's not right.
No, that's not right. Because he's not. People don't talk about him in the same breath as they talk about Magic, Bird, and Michael Jordan, which is not right.
Right. Well,
if you watch basketball in the 80s, you know what time it is. Front if you want to.
Yeah, but
Isaiah Thomas was as big time as anybody.
This is on Michael Jordan, though, because Michael Jordan is one of the people who started that smear campaign against him and most of those guys from the Pistons. They went and pulled Dennis Rodman from there, but these other guys, like Isaiah, they really started a smear campaign against him because, he's
that's because Isaiah was the leader of the team.
Yeah, and Michael Jordan lobbied the league, although most people don't even talk about it. He lobbied the league to get them to change the rules for them to soften up on him and everything. And it actually helped Michael Jordan out. It helped his game.
Well, and I mean, it's not like they gave it to him. Michael Jordan then supplemented that with actually hitting the gym and getting stronger.
Yeah, you know what? They did give it to him.
You could argue that the Pistons are responsible now for the athletes to a certain degree other than HGH and steroid use, which I believe is rampant in the NBA. You can argue that they're the reason that guys started really lifting weights for basketball is because Michael Jordan brought something in, this crazy work ethic that everybody talked about.
Right.
Michael Jordan brought nutrition and the crazy work ethic in because he was getting the crap beat out of him by the Pistons.
Well, I think the Pistons brought it in and Michael Jordan followed suit.
I don't think so. The Pistons were just tough dudes. Rick Mahorn wasn't hitting the weights.
Yeah,
Rick Mahorn was just as.
What about Dennis Rodman?
Dude. Was not hitting the weights.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman was beast mode.
Yeah, but that was when he was 22 years old. That wasn't because he was
John Sally.
He started. Those guys were not hitting. Go back and look at the photos. Those guys are string beans.
Man.
They're not ripped up at all. What they are is super strong and intimidating. They're violent. That's what they are.
Bill Laimbeer though.
But they all fit the same. Yeah. If you go look at them, James Edwards, Vinny the Microwave, Adrian Dantley, all these guys. The thing that I think is for them to rob Isaiah Thomas of this, at least now they admit it. Now, a piece that I didn't know, and I would love to know how this happened, I didn't get to see the whole thing, is, Magic said that wasn't Michael Jordan. They said it was rumors that he believed to be started by Isaiah Thomas about his sexuality.
Exactly.
That led him to keep him off to vote down on keeping him off the Dream Team. Magic had enough sway where if Magic would have said he was on, he would have been on.
Right.
Even with Michael Jordan being the big dog at that time.
Right.
And
Magic was just as big as he was back then.
I mean, the tide was turning, but yeah, for sure. Magic, at that point, Michael Jordan still wasn't even I don't even know if he had won any rings, or if he had one.
Yeah.
As opposed to,
most, yeah.
Well, actually, that was 92. So, Mike, I think he had 2. Yeah, 1 or 2. But I mean, and Isaiah Thomas was still physically available to do it. Magic wasn't all there, and actually Magic was all there, but Larry Bird's back was messed up, you know, the whole nine. I just think it's terrible. I think it's great that they're reconciling, and you can see in the emotion because the guys are crying and the whole nine. But, you know, it's see, there you go, spreading rumors. but I think that it's, man, you think about getting robbed like that. The different things that have happened in life that you say, well, it happens for a reason. It's going to work out. That didn't work out for Isaiah Thomas or the
never
world.
Get it back. Yeah, and you lost seeing Isaiah play in the Olympics,
in the grand scheme with the best of the best, with his peers,
and he was definitely
in the elite of.
Yes.
And then the other part that I had a problem with is now if you look at it, I am 100% certain that this has affected the outcome of his financial life because Michael Jordan's a team owner. Magic Johnson's a team owner. Larry Bird was a team owner slash coach slash GM. Isaiah Thomas took a head coaching job with the Knicks that went all the way wrong.
Yeah, and he GM'd a little bit. He went point guard heavy.
He couldn't believe it.
He could.
But this is what I'm saying. I don't believe that his financial status is that of those guys, but his impact was the same as those guys, and it would have really been catapulted had he been able to be a part of that dream team.
A lot of those guys wouldn't be who they are, I would like to say, if it wasn't for Isaiah in certain situations, because he pushed the Lakers to the brink. He definitely made the Celtics, the Celtics, and the Chicago Bulls.
All those four teams were the main teams.
Yes.
And he's right there with all of them.
Yes.
And he got his 2. He went back to back.
And he could have got 3.
Could have got 3. Had that problem. He got hurt.
He got hurt.
If he didn't get hurt, he gets 3. And there was still a chance because that was that game. Dennis Rodman decided to put up the end of the game shot. What are you doing?
We needed to be a hero right there.
And Joe Dumars tricked. Joe Dumars didn't get that clutch shot. They could have had 3. Do you believe that? In the middle of the 80s?
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Last piece on basketball. Your favorite player of all time had his celebration in which he had 2 numbers retired this past week. Kobe Bryant, your best friend, who backstage at the conference, you guys were buddy.
No, we weren't buddy, but he was cool. He's in a different state of mind right now.
He is. He is for sure. But
what I liked about what he did the other night when your boy shot that air ball, he got up and walked out. He wasn't trying to see all that. Are you money? You ain't money. You haven't been spending your time in the gym. It ain't no reason to come up short right there. We going to OT. Why am I going to OT?
I don't need to go to OT. Not if it's decided on the free throw line.
Come on, man.
Now, one thing I'll say is that the one thing that I found to be very, very interesting about that with Kobe is in his speech, you can see his maturity as a man in what he's speaking about. Mm-hmm. None of the stuff that he spoke about was true about him as a player, in my opinion. None of it.
What can you do?
Now, what can you do? But talking about
Mamba mentality.
Yeah, it just wasn't true. I watched Kobe Bryant shoot the Lakers out of as many games as I watch him shoot them into.
Yes.
Sometimes in the same game.
Right.
You know, and just that
well, when you watch that documentary about it, then you can you have a little bit more understanding. I forgot the name of the documentary. Have you seen it?
Not the one with Spike Lee.
I don't. You know what? I need to look that up. But he talks about where he transitioned and made the change and just turned into because I do believe that he's always been a selfish ball player, but then he went completely to the dark side, to the Black Mamba. You know what I'm saying?
And that is when the Diesel dipped.
Yeah.
That's when he ran Diesel out of town. Mm-hmm. Which that was great to see all the guys there to celebrate him, I don't understand having both numbers retired. I really think the Lakers went over the top. That was
now they're
that was
a couple numbers short, huh?
That was like the Republicans slobbing each other down after this tax bill. That was pornographic.
Oh,
there was so much.
That was disgusting.
That was disgusting. I don't know who that's attractive to, other than
that was embarrassing.
Cheeto, the narcissist. But oh man, that was. Ugh.
Why would a grown man sit there and ride somebody else's jockstrap like that? He's working Ahmad Rashad.
Wait, but that's not even in the same league. That's not at least Ahmad.
Thank you, Omar, for hosting this podcast. And I don't know how I would be able to do this podcast.
I couldn't even breathe without Terry.
No air.
Ernie, the way that you press the buttons and you equalize the sound, it's we've never seen sound equalized like this.
No one's ever sweetened it.
It's never been so balanced. Never. Yeah, no, but that was a problem I had with it, but it was a beautiful celebration. you can understand how Kobe held up the Lakers' growth and robbed them for that period of time.
The Lakers robbed themselves of that.
That's what I was just about to say, and you can see why, though. Because at that point, for the last 3 years, it hasn't been about winning. It's been about finance. And the $48 million that they signed him for.
Yeah, but Jerry Buss is completely against not winning.
Jerry Buss is in the grave, and I don't think he's concerned with the Lake Show.
But do you think he would have been down with that?
I think he would have figured out a different way of making Kobe comfortable in his farewell, even if it meant, I think he would have had another approach. Because what they did is they just acquiesced to all of his demands, and it is what it is.
And they should just let him be player coach at some point. Then
they might as well. Yeah. They might as well. Because it was so bad. I mean, he slowed their progress.
Yeah,
he put them, unlike the Yankees, they're behind
where
they should be.
Celebrating that last game. I even still hear people today talk about that last game. Oh man, that last game. No man, that last game. What? Come on, man. Are you kidding?
I've never seen worse defense in the NBA. Not even from a D'Antoni team.
Not even from the All-Star game.
Not even in the All-Star game.
Are you kidding?
I agree. Let's move on to football because the Raiders actually made my divorce proceedings go a lot easier this season, and I'm happy about that.
The Raiders actually got ripped off a little bit this time.
Hey, fellas, how's it going?
Trucker Dave on the roads of the United States of America at Christmas time. Merry Christmas. How do you feel, my brother?
Silver bells. I feel good.
Just don't talk about silver and black. You can talk about silver bells.
Hear them ring.
Because right now, that's what we're talking about. And I'm on here telling the icons that the Raiders have actually made my divorce from the organization a lot easier. I have to say I've been flirting. I've been spending some time with someone. I've been spending some time with the Rams, and they treat me really well. They've courted me well this year. Gave me some tickets for the field. I've had a good time out there. And now the Raiders got cheated, and I don't even feel bad that they got cheated because they play such a bad game every single week. What do you think is going on up there with Jack Del Rio and the infamous piece of paper test?
You know what? I just feel that the Raiders are an organization that has regressed. Everybody knows that. But the fact that he's a defensive coach with an offensive quarterback, and they're not using Marshawn Lynch. They have to go back into the draft and get some defensive players. I know Donald Penn's out for the rest of the year, even though it's only like 2 games. The Raiders are just he warned us. What else can I say? I have to give him credit. Give credit where credit was due. We were talking about his negative.
Negro Damas strikes once again.
Thank you, Ernie. Thank you, Omar.
He was right.
I'll be here all year.
He was right. I mean, I think Marshawn Lynch is averaging about 4 yards a carry.
I was about to say Marshawn Lynch. He looks good when they give him the ball.
But what's up with all these coaches that have actually a running back that actually decides to go against that scheme? The pass in that situation where Derek Carr is struggling because of this back injury, you run the ball and you open up the pass, right? Just like they should do it in Kansas City.
Why is Derek Carr coming back 2 weeks, 3 weeks after breaking his back?
It makes no sense.
The season isn't that important. You just have to chalk that up.
I'd have to write it off.
And low key, this is where Mark Davis is totally different from Al Davis.
Yeah.
The very first phone call that would have happened after Derek Carr busted his back would have been to Colin Kaepernick. 100%.
Oh, no question.
And that means the Raiders take a whole nother level of allegiance to the Raider Nation.
Right. And the Raider Nation,
sure would.
Yeah, they sure would.
It would have been a whole nother level of allegiance to the nation. I guarantee you would have had the number 1 selling jerseys and the number 1 merchandising in the whole country.
But instead, you're going to bring back the Brokeback.
You're going to bring back Brokeback Mountain, and it's a bad look because he literally wasn't ready. I'm not even mad at Derek Carr.
No, you're not mad. You know he wants to play just like any athlete. You want to get out there and compete, but you can't. I mean, you physically can't do the things that you were doing before. And then people are expecting that from you, but I can't do it. And then I have a bad coach as well. Come on, man. We're not running the ball. You need to take some pressure off of him. You have 2 good receivers.
And I was disappointed that they lost that game against Kansas City. I thought, I'm like, okay, this is a game that the Raiders need to win.
Right.
And they went up there and they lost it, turned the ball over.
It's too cold
I mean,
for
it's like, it's unbelievable, man. I mean, they have talent. And, they get talent and they just don't do the right things with it. So it's just a
classic Raiders
dysfunctional organization. I mean, that's what you have to say about them. What about Pete Carroll? What about Pete Carroll saying it's too many clicks in his locker room now? Now he's turning against guys like Bennett and all those guys. But what's happened up there in Seattle is the fact that the Rams have arrived, and the Rams have everything, and they got draft picks, and the Rams are the future.
Yeah, but
Yep.
Pete Carroll is the problem because he's talking about
Exactly.
he's talking about Russell Wilson hikes the ball when they hike the ball and I just look at him running around out there. You know something great's about to happen. That's not what football's about. You watch your quarterback get
Run
the ball
for his
and
life.
run for his life. You're supposed to have plays.
Wow.
You're supposed to have a scheme.
You got to have a scheme. You have to have an offensive line. And what about going into the draft and getting you a high-end running back? Take the pressure off of this guy. This guy's really
Why? He
the
enjoys
MVP
watching
at
him run
8-6. At 8-6, the guy's really the MVP because nobody else in the league can do what he does.
100%.
I feel like
and
he's
do
the-
it without getting hurt.
Right. I feel like he's the best player in the league.
I mean, the dude is, man, it's just unbelievable what the guy can do, man. But he can't, you're shortening his career if you don't
Yes.
get him an offensive line, a running back, another receiver. What's wrong with that?
It's almost like they're committed up in Seattle to having a minimalist approach. It's like they want to show that they can do it without all of the talent. And what they did show is when they had all of the talent, they were one of the greatest teams in history. Like the 2 years that they had all the talent that they should have got back-to-back rings. I mean, they literally were just about unbeatable. The only people that were going to beat them were themselves.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's exactly what they did, man. But moving forward, look at the division. You got Jimmy Garoppolo now. You got the up-and-coming Rams. I think it's like the end for Seattle. I think this is,
Yeah.
if they don't reinvent themselves, this is what happened to Pete Carroll when he was at USC. He went all the way up. He went all the way up, and then came all the way back down.
Yeah, football is dirty like that, man. The tide turns quickly in football. It's not a one or two key injuries. Cam Chancellor's out. You lose Marshawn Lynch, and then you can't trust
Richard
the process because Procise isn't serious. He can't get himself together. Richard Sherman, the other running back. What's the other running back's name?
Thomas Rawls.
Thomas Rawls. You can't trust. And next thing you know, you're a shell of yourself. You got Earl Watson up there, right? Was Earl Watson?
No, Earl Watson plays basketball.
No, I know, but what's his name?
Earl Thomas.
Earl Thomas. Yeah, that's what I'm sorry. You have the Legion of Boom, which is now fragmented because they laid so much wood for so long, and you're not getting anybody to replace them. Is the problem?
The reason why they're still staying on the field so long now is because they don't have offense. You have
Right.
you have a quarterback out there literally hiking the ball and running for his life, and the coaches enjoy watching it.
And he just happens to be good enough to be able to do that and move the chains.
And he's not a big guy.
No, that actually is helping him. That's the difference.
His IQ is so high. His football IQ is so high.
You know what?
It's unbelievable.
I'm going to say something else. The fact that you can tell that he's a multi-sport athlete actually
Yeah.
helps him out a lot too.
Yeah.
Because he's not a giant dude, that's what eliminates him getting hurt like Carson Wentz did or like an RG3 did. He's got a low center of gravity, and also when he moves his feet, he doesn't just have front to back speed like a lot of football players. He's got lateral
he can stop
movement
him down.
and footwork like a basketball player. He's got the grace of a baseball player, an infielder, which he was. You know what I mean? He uses. You can see how important it is for him to be able to use his body in all these different ways. And ultimately, it's all going to be for naught because he doesn't have any help.
When I tell
It's
you,
almost like Barry Sanders playing quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. With no line.
and it's unfortunate too because you're going to watch this guy's career be shortened because they won't do what they need to do to support him.
And I just don't know why. They have the money.
Get him some receivers. Get him a run. You have Jimmy Graham now, and you have Doug Baldwin. And Doug Baldwin to me is like a number 2 receiver, not actually
you
a
still
number
don't
1.
even have
And then you talk about a running back. Now you don't really have a running back. You had Marshawn Lynch before. Now you don't even have a number 2 and a number 3 running back.
Now the play action is all about Russell Wilson on the play action running, not about the running
About an
back
option,
running.
right.
Yeah, exactly. It's more like an option than it is like a play action.
It's
And
just
look
not
at the
cool to
guy,
watch.
man. It's not cool to watch. Look at the guy. He's second in the league in touchdown passes. He's got 30 with
Crazy.
nothing.
With nothing.
He's got 30. Carson Wentz, 33. Tom Brady, 28.
Deshaun
Dude's
Watson,
got 30.
75.
And he hasn't played 10 games.
Man, the dude's been out for like 8 weeks, and he's got 19 touchdowns. God, how many would you really have had?
I mean,
dude?
seriously.
Come on, man.
Seriously. The guy was giving you 50 touchdowns
he
this
would've gave you
year.
50.
Especially if they wouldn't have played him out, he could have played that first game.
Yeah, right.
They played him out in that first
They
game. He
played
probably
him
would have
out.
had at least 24.
Hey, man, Tom Savage. It's all about Savage.
Ooh, yeah. Now, speaking of the Savage, how in the hell are the New England Patriots the luckiest team? How do you get every break, every call for, like, who sold their
told him-
soul to the devil
I told him-
so that they would get every call? Now, we're talking to a Patriots fan on the line. What? Why? Why can't Asante Samuel pick the pass in the Super Bowl for the Eagles? Why did this kid Sean Davis? What's that?
He was on the Patriots.
Oh, he dropped the pass on the Patriots. Sure did.
Yeah.
But now, why can't Sean Davis pick the pass when Tom Brady gets the ball? It's a cookie that floats up for him. There wasn't
Why
like
is it Jesse James he can't possess the ball?
Why can't Jesse James just go down at the 1 and then stretch instead of the imaginary hit he was worried about coming? He had the ball. And what makes Big Ben force that pass? If you watch that play again, right after it, instead of forcing the slant, the play actually works. And if you look out on the right in the flat, the tight end leaks out into the flat. He's wide open.
I lost a little respect for Ben because he tried to throw everybody under the bus instead of just saying,
I do too.
yeah, instead of saying I messed up, because he messed up. And he tried to blame it on the coaching staff, and everybody blamed it on the popcorn man in the stand. He blamed it on everybody. Hey, man, it was you. You did that. You made a bad decision. Even though they called that play, even if they told you
Even though we all know it was a catch.
Yeah, they told
but
you
at
to clock
the same
it,
time,
throw the ball in the seats, whatever.
yeah, it wasn't open.
It wasn't open. Said, did nobody make you throw that pass?
Yes.
Yeah.
You neither, Russell Wilson.
The reason why. You asked the reason why, and I'll tell you the reason why, and you can say if you agree or disagree. They kind of have, until somebody bumps them off, they have this Mike Tyson effect.
They do.
They show up and you get intimidated by them.
The Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson effect.
Yeah. They're not doing they're already beat. It's just that you can't realize in your mind. It's kind of like that year when Sacramento had the Lakers beat, but they folded. They folded,
And Portland.
Yeah, these guys, they had them beat, but mentally, they're like, wow, we're beating the Lakers.
Or it's kind of
We're going to move on to the next round. It's a Mike Tyson effect. He had the people beat before the fight even started.
And it just got even worse with the Super Bowl this year. Once the Super Bowl this year happened and that comeback happened, forget about it. Nobody wants to see Tom Brady out there because nobody remembers for the first 3 quarters of that game, Tom Brady looked like an old man and
he looked defeated.
He looked completely defeated
Bill Belichick.
because the young guys were out there running amok.
Julian Edelman was the only person out there that looked like he wanted it.
Julian Edelman was the only dude that was like, not me.
Tom Brady couldn't believe that it wasn't working out right for him.
He couldn't believe he was getting picked, getting bullied.
Yeah, but look at it like this, fellas. Look at it like this. You got a team in Jacksonville that if they match up with New England, if they go into New England, you got veterans out there that are not old, that won't be scared of them.
Calais Campbell is not scared of the lure of Foxborough.
Leonard Fournette will destroy the Patriots.
He should.
Yeah,
he might end up with 200 yards.
Running back, and you have the general manager / Tom Coughlin, who's beat them twice.
Yeah,
so
in the biggest game, on the biggest stage.
Right. You got the 2 best cornerback tandem on your team. You got run stoppers. You got pass rush. All you have to do is create a couple of turnovers. And this guy, now Tom Brady, the speed of the game, you could see him in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
He has 2 touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
He's just
the
a tick
speed
behind.
of the game.
It's amazing how Father Time is undefeated. It's unreal.
Now look at it like this. Your 2 running backs, they'll get Burkett back when the playoffs start. But your 2 running backs, they won't be intimidated by him if they play him. So I think Jacksonville can make some real noise, man. They're like a 2017 version almost of the Baltimore Ravens.
I'm interested to see what Garoppolo's going to do against him this week because he's a Tom Brady protege, and I think that he's going to give him a little problem.
I don't.
I think so too. I think he's the truth.
I think Garoppolo is the truth, but I think that's why I don't think he's going to give them a big problem is because that Jacksonville Jaguar team, what they got travels. It's no matter where they go, defense travels, homeboy, and they're not scared. Those guys are not scared, and all they need is for Blake Bortles to be just a bit better than Peyton Manning was in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but
they need a little bit better than a game manager.
Let me tell you something. What the Jacksonville Jaguars do is that they depend on getting you down, and once they get you down, then they can pound you. They can pound you. They can put that defense on you like that.
Yeah.
But if you can stay in the game with them, what they've shown in the past, you can give them a problem. And
that's good analysis.
And this is what Jimmy Garoppolo I think he could do because San Francisco's defense is not crazy bad.
No.
And
they're actually on the come up.
Yeah, and Jimmy Garoppolo
I think that's a good point that Trucker Dave brought up just before talking about the division.
Yeah, and Jimmy Garoppolo is a above average quarterback, so I think that he'll be able to move the ball. If they can stay competitive with them, they might be able to upset them.
Wow,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, they got a really good chance. Everybody's thinking, games in Foxborough. You got to look at this.
No, he was talking about
key
San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
But no, but go ahead, please,
I'm
go
talking
ahead.
about when the playoffs start.
Yeah.
Look at this key component. There's 2 weeks left, and we don't know who's going to get injured right now. So you can't really say anything.
Yeah.
Welcome
you got
to
to
the
wait
NFL.
for 2 weeks and see who's healthy. I mean, somebody's going to get hurt in these 2 weeks, and it could be a big determining factor on the playoffs and the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, but the Thursday night games are gone, thankfully, and that'll save a lot of people from getting injured.
Yeah, they're just going Saturday, Sundays now, right?
Yeah.
So now, Trucker Dave, we're gonna wrap it up. Next episode will be our year-end episode, and I wanted to introduce an idea for you, which is give us your nomination for greatest sporting event of this year, 2017.
Wow, that is something I will have to get back to you on.
I'm gonna throw a few out there. We got the Joshua Klitschko fight, which was fantastic. We have the Super Bowl, which was fantastic. I mean, especially if you're a Patriots fan, which you are. We have Game 5 of the World Series, which is, to me, the greatest sporting event maybe that I've ever seen ever. And there's one more that I'm missing out on right now. There was a basketball game that was crazy nuts that I'm forgetting about right now.
You're crazy.
But it just think about them. El pollo loco. And report back for all you listeners who are not from California. That's a fast food chain out here that's fantastic, and they have a really funny commercial that culminates in a man singing El pollo loco.
Canal, brother.
So, all right, Trucker Dave, where you calling in from in this great country of ours?
All my exes live in Texas, and it's raining right now. I'm moving along to 35, hoping to get this here delivered. I'm in Texas.
Well, they do it big in Texas, and everything is bigger out there. Be careful on these roads. Trucker Dave, we will speak to you before year end.
Good, fellas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Some great analysis right there.
I mean, you guys just got me pumped up for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Especially since my team's going to make it.
The Raiders.
The Rams.
No.
Told you, I've been flirting.
No.
I've been flirting. We've been seeing each other on the side.
You haven't been
I've
seeing
been
my
talking
Rams.
to the Rams. So, very interesting. Very interesting. Now let's move on. Did you see the fight this weekend?
No, I did not, to be honest.
I saw the fight this weekend. There was something very disturbing that happened, and there was two fights. There was, a card full of fights, but there was two fights. There was a fight on the undercard where a kid named Douglas, who used to be really good, fought, and Roy Jones brought out a great analysis of saying that the kid literally was just not responding to a right hand that a guy named, I think his name was Tommy O'Sullivan, Jack O'Sullivan, an Irishman, was throwing. He just literally wasn't responding. And when they slowed it down, you could see him see that it was coming, and he would just close his eyes. He wouldn't move his head or anything.
What's wrong with him?
I don't know. I think the kid may have a problem, but he needs to retire. And he was actually really good just a little while ago, and he took a beating, and it went the wrong way. He took the wrong kind of beating.
Wow.
And it went the wrong way. You should really watch this fight. It's disturbing. And they ended up stopping the fight in like the
watch this
7th or
fight.
8th
It's
round.
disturbing.
Yeah, mess up your sleep.
I don't want it.
And
don't need any more of that.
And it was not a good look. Really wasn't a good look.
Wow.
And
it's always terrible to watch fights and fighters go down like that because it's such a dangerous sport where you're just watching a guy just get his brains literally pounded out. And then your reaction times leave and you don't have your senses about you and you just stand there and take punches.
I mean, this is what it was. It was like it really didn't make sense. It was like you're watching a kid who is, has a superior athletic ability, which you've seen before, and it just literally was not there.
Think he fought too soon after the last fight?
Yeah, I think he should just retire, honestly. He should find another line of work. Antoine Douglas is a kid's name, and it was Spike O'Sullivan who gave it to him. And Spike O'Sullivan actually was beat by Billy Joe Saunders. Now, Billy Joe Saunders is the other guy that everybody always, as a side note, that owns the other belt in the middleweight category. And now what he did do, he beat the crap out of David Lemieux. But David Lemieux, you didn't see the fight, but David Lemieux basically, you're seeing that Manny Pacquiao effect. And certain guys, it used to happen to guys with Mike Tyson. It happens with guys when you fight guys where you catch a beating. And it actually didn't happen as much with Mike Tyson because Mike Tyson would beat guys up within 3 rounds. Guys like Manny Pacquiao punish guys for 8 to 10 rounds, and it takes something out of them. It takes life off of their boxing years.
Right.
And
Gennady.
Gennady did that to David Lemieux. Gennady beat up David Lemieux bad I think about 2 years ago, and he now squared up against David Lemieux. Had the candidate for the knockout of the year last year. If you remember, it was late last year. He knocked the guy out. Beautiful knockout. But what ended up happening was he was more than a step behind. He wasn't a tick slow like we're talking about with Tom Brady. He was a full step behind. He's throwing punches telegraphed so far away, and Billy Joe Saunders had superior footwork.
Right.
Worked primarily off of a jab. He doesn't have a lot of power. And he's, I do believe, the WBO middleweight champion. And it sets up a really intriguing round robin between Danny Jacobs, Billy Joe Saunders, Gennady, and Canelo, which to me, I still believe that Gennady is the best, followed very slightly behind by Danny Jacobs.
Yeah.
I actually don't think Danny is that far behind Gennady now.
No, I think that
because of age and because of just overall wear and tear. Gennady's in boxing years, he might as well be 90 years old.
Yeah.
And so, he's still got enough to beat up those guys. But
I don't know. I love Gennady. You know that, but if he fought Danny again, if Danny probably would switch the game up a little bit.
He would.
I think he would give him a problem. I don't think that fight was close like everybody. The first fight wasn't close like everybody said that it was.
I agree.
But I feel like that Danny probably recognized that he actually could beat him if he put the right game plan together. And I think that he would come out with a different game plan instead of trying to stand in there. At first he came out to the first six rounds was trying not to get knocked out.
Yes.
And then after he established that that he could take it, he really put in some good work.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sets this fight up. I would actually love to see Danny Jacobs fight Billy Joe Saunders because I thought
you were going to say Canelo.
He'll take his. Canelo. I think Canelo destroys Billy Joe Saunders.
I think that's how I feel about Danny Jacobs and Canelo. I feel like Danny Jacobs would kill Canelo.
I really think you sell Canelo short, and I don't.
No, I'm talking about size wise because Danny Jacobs.
Canelo's the smallest one out of this whole bunch. By the way, Canelo really
and Danny Jacobs understands the size.
He's a 58 guy, 54, 58 guy.
Yeah, and Danny Jacobs understands the size factor, and he would pepper him with that jab, and he's got power, and he's got enough to keep Canelo at bay to drop ones and twos on him to get him out of there, put him to sleep.
Canelo has enough to put anybody to sleep. This is the thing. See, and you don't believe it, but it's
because you said he could put anybody to sleep, and he put Triple G to sleep, and Triple G stood in there with him and let him put it on him.
Listen, Gennady sees all the punches and all the angles because Gennady's the best in the world. That's how it works. Now, Gennady didn't get hit with a punch that he didn't see, which is what happened to Amir Khan.
He did,
and which was happened to a lot of guys.
He did, and he walked right through it.
I didn't see that. He got hit, and he got hit.
I think it was like the ninth or 10th round.
I always saw him get hit with punches that he saw. He got hit hard. I'm not saying that.
No, he got hit hard in the 9th or 10th round with an uppercut that he did not see coming, and he smiled, and then he started coming forward. And I think that's one of the things that made Canelo think to himself, like, oh my goodness, this is real. I can't get him out of here. I feel like Canelo, one of the reasons why they said that them re-signing is imminent, but one of the reasons why they haven't signed yet is because Canelo actually has that in his heart now that I don't believe that he thinks that he could beat him.
It's very possible. Very possible. If I was Canelo, and if I'm a Canelo fan, I wouldn't think that was encouraging, that showing.
Canelo's cool. We met him a few times.
Canelo is actually a great guy.
He's a great guy.
We met him a bunch of times. Had dinner with him after the fight with Cotto.
Yeah, he's
a great young man.
He's a great young man.
Really positive young guy, solid guy. And I just don't think that he's better than Gennady Golovkin. I do think that he would make for great fights against truthfully, I think he'd make for a great fight against Gennady again because I could see Gennady pressing so hard to knock him out that he would make some mistakes.
Caught slipping, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Gennady now has a long time to recover as well. Just like how, you know what I mean? When I think that Gennady's superior in that sense in his ability to take punches and tolerate pain. But Danny is the sleeper cell in this thing. Billy Joe Saunders put on a very impressive display of athleticism and speed, but he's not more athletic faster than any of the other three guys.
He doesn't have any
he's faster than Gennady, but
he doesn't have the thunder that these guys bring.
And that's what
Canelo
you need.
And Danny Jacobs and Gennady, those guys can get you out of there.
And the other thing that David Lemieux couldn't do that I think the rest of all of those three guys can do with footwork is you can't run from them all night. They can cut the ring off. David Lemieux couldn't cut the ring off, and he chased Billy Joe all night, and he got punished for it. He really did.
When is that Danny Jacobs Chavez fight?
I didn't know that Danny Jacobs and Chavez had gotten announced.
No, I thought they were fighting.
I hadn't heard that. I don't know about that. I'm not sure. You can look it up. You tell me.
I'm about to look it up.
But as far as I know, I don't know if Danny's next fight has been solidified. But what they're talking and what the streets are saying and what they should say is that if Gennady and Canelo are on the card for for Cinco de Mayo, then the undercard should be Danny and Billy Joe, and it's true. That's what it should be. And then throw in one smaller fight underneath that. Maybe if the Thai home is ready to mix it up again by then, even though he's a Sorik Vingzai, he's mixing it up in February. Matter of fact, we got invited to that fight. It's going to be here in L.A. Let's move on. Moving on. You tell me if that information comes through.
No, it doesn't.
They
were planning on fighting in December. I guess it got pushed back.
Yeah, I mean, he just fought. There's no way they were planning on fighting. He just fought at Thanksgiving. Remember, Danny? I mean, at the end of October, Danny just fought. What's his name on his first card on
Chavez
HBO.
wants Danny Jacobs in December. I'm sorry.
Chavez. That's just saying. That's
boxing news. That's on boxing news. I'm sorry. Just reading info.
You can't absolve yourself from it just because that's their Trump style. Can't say, oh, it was somebody else who said.
No, Trump makes stuff up. I didn't make anything up. I'm reading the information,
which was made up.
So you're back in fake news.
No, I'm saying
you're back in fake news. This dude right here. No, I'm not. You just called it out. There was never a term called fake news before.
Don't do it.
2016.
Don't do it. Stop. Anyways, oh my goodness, this guy. So, Major League Baseball, they're making moves.
Hot stove.
It's hot.
Stove of hot.
It's hot, and I think the hottest move that recently has happened is the Longo Toyota is heading to San Francisco. Evan Longoria, Long Beach native, is or maybe Fullerton native who played at Cal State Long Beach, is heading to San Francisco, the city by the bay. And I tell you, Buster Posey couldn't be any happier. I'm sure about that.
I'm sure.
They need one big left-handed stick.
They need a left-handed, but maybe your boy, the first baseman,
Brandon Belt, he's
might
not serious.
He had a decent year. He's got
that vertigo. He can't seem like he gets himself
with
together.
That pop because he's a big guy that doesn't really.
They need Greg Bird. They need a guy like Greg Bird.
A thumper like Greg
Bird. A left-handed guy that can get the ball out of the stadium.
That's one of the hardest parks, although it doesn't look like one of the hardest parks to hit home runs out of.
Except for to right field. Mm-hmm. It's one of the hardest parks to hit home run. Everywhere but right field is huge. If you've ever been there, it's a really big stadium. But one thing that I do like that they're talking about the Dodgers flirting with Lorenzo Cain. Now, Lorenzo Cain's a winner.
I know, but how many outfielders do you need?
Hey, listen, they're talking about the Angels getting them too.
Of course.
No,
how many outfielders do you need? Come on, dude. I mean, one of the biggest things out there is Manny Machado moving. That's what's humongous. Manny Machado.
I don't think Manny Machado's going anywhere.
Well, they said now they're talking about pulling him back if somebody doesn't offer him something great. And I don't blame him. Why wouldn't you get?
Yeah, no, he's one of the best players in baseball. Yeah, he had a down year, whatever to that. We all know what time it is.
What's a down year? 270 something and 30 something bombs.
Yeah, that's a down year for him. Exactly,
that's crazy, right?
Exactly. He has that Miguel Cabrera kind of potential.
Yeah, he does.
And your Houston Astros are talking to Yu Darvish, which I think could be a great fit because it seems like the Astros are the only team that Yu Darvish couldn't get away from.
Yeah.
Other than that, he was dominant.
And they probably can tweak him and fix him up a little bit. And what you're talking about, a frontline pitching staff, that would be crazy.
It sure would.
I mean, everybody's talking about the Yankees. The Houston Astros are the world champions, and they have a lot of potential and talent still because they have a bunch.
They do,
of
but
kids.
You can't discount the Yankees just because you're a fan of the Astros. What the Yankees have done is impressive. So don't act like it's not impressive. Yeah, but it is impressive.
Okay, but the Astros are still the world champions.
Yeah,
and George Springer, I'll take George Springer over Stanton.
It's not a one-on-one game.
Yeah, but that's what all the Yankee fans are talking about.
No, that's not what all the Yankee fans are talking about. No, you always manipulate the argument. You're lying right now. It's a lie.
Martinez, the Boston Red Sox will win that division.
I'm not sure about that either.
Well,
but
I am sure.
Yeah, okay. But what will happen is that if the Yankees had Giancarlo Stanton in their lineup in that series this last year, there's no doubt. Oh, okay. You're talking nonsense. You're talking reckless and you're talking nonsense.
That doesn't mean anything.
It does.
What do you have another thumper? You're supposed to be playing baseball. You're supposed to be hitting for average and power, not just for power.
Mike Stanton hit almost 300 last year. And Giancarlo, rather, sorry. Giancarlo hit almost 300 last year. And in that's hitting, he put up Triple Crown-esque numbers. So that is hitting for average. So don't try to play me. I know the numbers. So, but
what were the numbers
with
then?
That?
If you know the numbers, what were they? Tell me the numbers.
284, 59, and 1.
That's not 300.
I didn't say 300.
You
I said
almost
exactly.
That's not almost. That's
yes,
not
it
300.
is. Yes, it is almost 300.
No.
But then you can ask everybody who listens to the podcast and everybody that you've ever played baseball with and ask if 284 is closer to 300 or closer to 250. And the law of averages and math tell you that it's closer to 300. So
but
please
it's not
stop.
300.
And I never said that. So you're making
We'll
up
have
an
to go back and
argument
tape.
that doesn't work. As usual, you're trying to manipulate the tape, and thank God we have your lying ass on tape now. So you can
at the end of the season,
play
we'll
that
see,
wordsmith game with other
At the end
people.
of the season, we'll see if Mike Stanton will be the difference in the Yankees going over the top because it takes
His name is Giancarlo.
because it takes pitching to win, not home runs.
Sure does.
Not home runs.
And because of that, the Yankees are trying to get Garrett Cole.
Yeah, but if you have Yu Darvish, Lance McCullers, Justin Verlander, and Dallas Keuchel, I would take the Houston Astros
And Charlie
once
Morton.
again. Yeah, and Charlie Morton. I would take the Houston Astros once again. The only thing the Astros have to get is a closer. That's all they would need.
But I haven't seen them make any moves towards that direction.
But they don't have to. They have a minor league system that's filled.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We're going to see because it wasn't filled in the World Series.
But it was filled enough because they won a championship.
It was filled enough because the
Thank
Dodgers because the
No,
Dodgers
nothing
tricked.
because the Dodgers tricked because the Astros are a better team.
I don't know about
They
that.
were the best team in baseball the whole year.
The Dodgers were the best team in baseball the whole year.
No.
The Astros were the best team when it came to the World Series.
The Astros were the best team in baseball the whole year. Until they had injuries, they fell off a little bit. Just like any team.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, there's always a caveat in the icons
No
argument.
caveat.
All the time.
Who's the world
All
champion?
the time.
Who's the world champion?
All the time.
Who's the world champions?
The Astros.
Oh, thank you very much.
Astros. But
End
that's
of
not talking about
conversation.
all year.
End of conversation.
Look at the record. That's not talking about all
What,
year.
the Dodgers beat them by how many games?
But the Dodgers beat them.
Yeah, but
So
not
that
in the World
ends that
Series. But not in the World Series.
No, we're not talking. We're talking
now-
about all year.
And now, once we put all those games together, they probably averaged out to be and run scored.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you hear this? You guys run back the tape yourselves so you can hear his circular logic that always runs back to him trying to be right on a conversation that then he loses, that then he then in turn decides he needs to try to manipulate to make it right. No, but it averages out.
Like
but this. But this.
I'm averaging out that the Astros are the world champions.
There's
the
nothing to average out there.
Best team
That's
in
a
baseball.
fact.
The best team in baseball. Period.
That's a fact.
You can go get
That's a fact.
Giancarlo and everybody. The Astros are
Until
still
they play the
world
games.
champions.
Until they
Exactly.
play the games.
Thank you
The
very much.
Astros are the best team in
And
baseball.
I told you that in the beginning of the year.
Yep, you did.
Thank you very
You did.
much.
And there was a period where they were not the best the team in the game.
But they are the best
But they
team
are.
in baseball.
They
Yes,
are
thank you very much.
in the off season as of right now.
They're still the best team in baseball.
Well,
Until somebody dethrones them.
until
they're
I was
the
about to
best.
say until somebody else gets
They're the
crowned
best
that
That's
World Series
exactly
champ,
right.
they're the best. They are the best. They want it. They want it, and it's going to be interesting to see if they can hold on to it because I was really surprised that Carlos Santana left the Indians. I was
And to go
surprised.
to the
by that.
Phillies?
And I feel like now does he have family in Philadelphia, or does he just see
And not only that,
potential
it's
that we don't necessarily
It's
see?
a cold weather place. I don't understand that.
But he's
It's
always
not that-
played in a cold
it's
weather
not that
place.
far from Cleveland.
I feel like I felt that same way when Edwin Martinez left. Edwin Encarnacion left Toronto. But
Yeah, but the thing of it is that I don't understand going to the Phillies. The Phillies have nothing to offer, really.
right,
What do they have to offer?
he really liked that kid Hoskins.
And Aaron out there, but
I guess so.
they don't really. They're not in the.
They're not. They're still
They're
rebuilding.
not contending.
I don't know how you go from the excitement of Cleveland, who, in my opinion, actually was the best team in
Yeah.
baseball, to that. They're not going to be knocking on the playoff door.
Right, and not only that, he's not that type of player that takes you over the hump to get you to that
I agree.
situation.
I agree. I don't know what that
Because
was
he doesn't
exactly.
bat close to 300.
And
he'll give
nowhere
you 30
near
bu-
close.
Yeah, he'll give you 30
They give you
bombs.
30 bombs. Then you have that move that was surprising to me. Garrett Cole to the Yankees. If Sonny
Crucial.
Gray can become anywhere near who Sonny Gray was,
Yeah, but why would you think that he can go back and get that? Because he hasn't been able to do that for like 2 or 3 years now.
I think he can. Because I'm a believer that once you have it, you can always go grab something. But it's just a matter of whether
He
or
can't
not
grab nothing.
we gonna see.
He can't grab nothing.
But you still got Lou Severino.
Yeah,
you got Tanaka. You re-signed CC.
And you got the boss man.
That's that guy Tanaka.
Yeah,
That's what I was
Tanaka,
saying.
but you got Chance Adams down there in the minor leagues, which is a stud. And
Still
then,
got Green.
And then if you can bring Chad Green up into that rotation, that's serious rotation.
Serious rotation.
But I think,
and they have actually have an
but I
airtight
feel like
bullpen.
this is. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have re-signed CC as much as I.
remember
love
you
him.
said that.
Yeah.
I would, because for what they got him for, it's not like, you're not going to get another guy with that veteran leadership.
Yeah.
What that move tells me is they believed that CC was as much of a part of that clubhouse presence more so than Joe Girardi was.
Which is ridiculous.
I'm just saying what it says, by where they're putting their
If
money.
you listen to Yankee fans, they don't want to give Joe Girardi any credit for
It's amazing to me.
Yes, and I'm blown away. Something went on in New York that we just don't know
Yeah,
about.
I feel like, honestly, he
Because-
really rubbed them the wrong way.
Yeah, because-
except for Bobby.
Yeah, because from what I saw, I saw a guy who did a great job with a bunch of young kids and took them to the next level way ahead of schedule.
I mean, 2 years even.
Yeah.
If not more.
Now getting Stanton is huge, But I do not believe that just because that's the
I feel like anytime you add the MVP, it's a big deal. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like even if the MVP isn't the best player in any sport, he's always close to it. It's not like he's,
Yeah, but I feel like the way that the Houston Nationals won the World Series is playing a National League style of baseball. They use a combination of speed and power.
Sure did.
Mixed in with just enough of pitching. But if you
not great pitching.
Yeah,
just
not
enough
great, just enough. But if you want to go power, then you live and die by power.
Which the Yankees have always been down with.
The Yankees have been down with. But then now you take out the equation of Joe Girardi and bring in Aaron Boone. We don't know what we're going to get from Aaron Boone.
I don't know what I'm going to get from Aaron Boone. Don't know what's going to.
So you're going to add the MVP, but you're going to take which might have been the MVP of the Yankees, which was their manager.
Could have been. You never know. But there's a lot of detractors because they really didn't appreciate him getting that call wrong in Cleveland.
That's one call. Yeah,
they held that against him.
They held that against him, man. Come on.
I swear he didn't win.
He said he made a mistake too. He stood up. He's a stand-up guy.
I swear he didn't win the World Series in 2009.
Yeah, come on,
unbelievable.
And he played with Jeter.
I mean, and he played with Greg Maddux. He knows how to call a game.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, just to wrap it up, unless you got something else, I'm just so happy that Jack Morris got into the Hall of Fame. Jack Morris and Alan Trammell got into the Hall of Fame
About
recently.
time, right?
Somehow or another, kind of like in the same way that I feel about Lonzo Ball and everybody, the criteria that people hold Lonzo Ball to, which is an evolved view on being a point guard. I guess there's an evolved view on being a pitcher because for my near 4 decades of watching baseball, if you tell me that we're in a big game and Jack Morris is going to be on the hill,
I'm feeling good.
I feel great
I'm
about our
jazzy.
chances. I recognize that I may need 2 runs max.
Right.
Maybe.
And
I might only need
errors.
1. Like, I just need airtight defense.
Yeah, but that's the same way I feel about Alan Trammell. If you talk about what's your boy in Baltimore, the shortstop, Cal Ripken.
Oh, Alan Trammell.
Alan Trammell should have. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, Alan Trammell is a big-time ball
Alan
player
Trammell,
for the Detroit Tigers.
I would definitely take Alan Trammell over.
World Series MVP, I do believe.
Yeah, come on, man.
84, I think you got the 84 MVP, Alan Trammell.
And you're talking about.
And he was consistent year
Right,
in, year out.
right.
But he never put up crazy numbers. Like,
He put up the great numbers for that day.
era.
Yeah,
that's
for that era.
the thing. But Jack Morris is one of those guys whose numbers were probably looked mediocre on the page. But if you ever watch Jack Morris deal,
In a big game,
you know
can't
what
get any
time it
better.
is. You know what time it is.
You can't get any better.
You can't get better than Jack Morris. You can't get better than 10 scoreless in the World Series.
In the World Series. What do you want from
I
me?
think it was Game 7.
I gave you 10 scoreless.
10 scoreless. Enough. I gave you enough.
And
Just
if you-
get me 1 run.
And they couldn't. They couldn't grab nothing.
They did. They won that game. What are you
Oh, they
talking
sure
about?
did,
They won
right?
the game 1-0.
Against John Smoltz.
Against John Smoltz. Gave you 9
Oh.
scoreless. And then somebody else came in
dirty
and gave
rats.
up 1 run, I think. John Smoltz might have gave up that 1 in the 9th, but I think he gave it up. I think they gave up 1 in the bottom of the 10th. I think that's what happened. I think, dang it, I can't remember who the closer was. It might have been like Stanton or somebody gave up that run in the bottom of the 10th.
Yeah. Is that the game that Lonnie Smith tricked?
No, I don't think so. I think that was Game 6. I need to go watch that series again. Great series, the Braves versus the Twins. So yeah, you got anything else?
Nah, that's about it. I'm feeling pretty jazzy about what we put down here.
Yeah, I'm in a parting shot, I'm very happy to see now with this Me Too sexual harassment movement, with people coming out and speaking out about it, this clown, that predator, despicable person that was the coach of the Olympic team, they're saying the numbers now, he's going to do life in prison. I don't think it's going to matter because he'll probably get killed within the first couple of years. They're saying that he ended up molesting upwards of 200 girls.
Ridiculous.
From random girls who were involved in the program at the schools that he went to train at, to Olympic champions, molestation for decades. And there's a bunch of weak men out there who turned a blind eye to it.
It's very, very weak because that's somebody's daughter, mother, sister, and somebody.
It could easily
yeah,
have been your
and it could have been,
daughter, mother,
yes.
sister,
and so,
cousin, friend.
And if you want to turn the blind eye to it and act like you didn't see it, then that's shame on you.
You're
that's
weak for
yes,
that.
and that's a serious character flaw.
It's a very serious character flaw. And they're talking about bringing charges against the other lines of complicity. That's what they're looking into now.
Good.
See who else covered this up and went along with this.
I mean, the whole thing about what they do is to hide it and make everybody the women feel shameful about the situation.
Exactly.
It's your sin. It's your problem. Meaning the guy who's perpetrating
Exactly.
it. You know, and it's terrible.
Women didn't do anything
The
wrong.
women didn't do anything wrong. And they shouldn't have to walk around in shame because this guy has a flaw, a serious problem.
That's it.
I mean, I honestly believe, I told you before, they should bring back castration in these situations. We just need to make sure that we're sure that this guy's
We got to be sure. that
we got to be sure.
You can't have one of those go wrong.
Yeah, you can't have one
you
go
can't get
wrong.
that wrong. It's
But-
like the death penalty.
Yeah, but this is something that would detour men from actually.
I don't know, because the sickness that these guys have,
It's
I don't
sick.
know if I don't. It's a disease, and I don't know if it cures it. But this leads me to our quote on the pre-Christmas quote, folks. Is to find joy in everything you choose to do. Every job, relationship, home. It's your responsibility to love it or change it. I'm your host, Omar Miller, folks. This has been another lovely edition of the OZone. Thanks for rocking with us. Merry Christmas, and thank you for helping our audience grow and being a part of the show with us for the whole year. This is the OZone.
Ozone.
I'm just living the dream. I'm in love with the lights.